Hey y'all. Okay, so I have just left I had a speaking engagement this evening. A friend of mine in the program, Shelby, I don't think she's going to care that I used her name, but she'd asked me months and months and months ago if I would speak at it's a juvenile correction facility, if I would come and share my my story. And I was pregnant, and so things went on. So anyway, so I actually was able to go tonight. So and she needs people to share their stories on Monday nights. So if anyone's hearing this and they are sober or struggled with, she takes a meeting to them. She needs people to share their story. So if you have a story and you're interested, I guess let me know and I'll pass your name along. So anyways, when I was I get so nervous anytime that I speak. Anytime I just and I want to not do it. I just want to be like, yeah, no, I'm gonna pass actually. So but I just said yes, I'm still coming. And on the drive, there was, praying and just asking God to have His way and to move me out of the way, and to fill my mouth and to help me. When you go in, I remember the last time I didn't realize until I was almost there. I was like, oh my gosh, I've actually years and years ago had spoke at this same facility, and it's very intimidating because they are youth and they are incarcerated in this facility, in a lockdown facility. And they're lost and they're broken and they're angry and they feel probably rejected and they're bitter and they are, everything else, woe is me, can't see their own fault, want to blame it on, the rest of the world, all of these things. And so when I got in there, tonight I was basically, told that you can, talk about whatever you want to talk about. And as I began to share my story, I'm looking at these kids, boys and girls. They bring them both, and they separate them in the room, but they bring everyone in. And then something happened. I was like, I'm not in here to just share. I'm here to actually talk to them and remind them of who they are. And I was in the same headspace. I went through things as a teenager. There was a lot of different things in my life, and there was a lot of different things that were spoke over me that weren't true, like I would never be anything. And there was a lot of mental and emotional abuse growing up. A lot of verbal, which the enemy loves. I would have rather have been beat up every day and got over that than the verbal, because those are the seeds that verbal abuse those are seeds that the enemy uses, and he plants it in your mind. And then that's when you have those the time you're an adult, right? If you don't deal with them right away, you have now you're trying to tear down these I almost said sand castles, these mind castles, these strongholds in your mind, because they've taken place, they've rooted themselves, and now you're fighting to break those and to believe what God says about you. And so I just went in there and I realized that our kids need your story. They need your encouragement. They need us to put aside our busy schedules and our busy days. I just realized I in my mind, I'm I have 100 other things I could be doing right now. My husband was trying to, do stuff in the house before we both had to leave. He had to go to a game. I needed to come here. He was trying to, do stuff. And I just almost said, I'm not going. I'll stay and do all this stuff. And The enemy loves to distract us, and he loves to make us busy, and he loves to, you know, to do nothing more than to get us to turn away or to walk away from an assignment. And my heart for the youth, I don't, even just in the last, like, something even happened at our last, we do youth empowerments every last Friday of the month. So be on the lookout for those. But it did something to the end, because they've got next. They are next. And they live in a time where, you know, I wouldn't want to be them now. And I told them that tonight. You guys, I wouldn't want to be. I wouldn't want to be your age in this day and age. Other than you were actually created for right now. You are actually created for such a time as this, as are we. And our youth needs your testimony. They need to hear that they're not the mistake of their parents. They needed to hear that, I'm not the mistake of my parents. I'm not, and my mom is very successful. We didn't do everything right growing up. My parents did it. I'm not going to do everything right with my kids, I'm sure, but I'll do it better because I know better, and I just wanted to hug them all, and I wanted nothing more. I literally stopped, and I just was like, you need to know who you are. I'm not going to share some drunkalog with you. I'm not going to share. You actually need to know who you are. And you have purpose, and you are alive on purpose, and you're in this facility because God's hand is on you, and you are fearfully and wonderfully made, and you have a story, and you have decisions that you're going to have to make when you get out of this place, and those decisions are going to determine every decision that you make every day moving forward, shape who we are. What kind of decisions are you going to make? Because you actually have a great destiny that awaits you. You have purpose. You have success on your life. Actually, the enemy would love nothing more than for you to think that you don't have any of those things when, he's fighting you already. You know what I mean? You're in here. I'm sure he speaks to you good and well at night, when you're laying your head down, and lets you know how awful he thinks you are, and he lets you know how terrible he thinks you are, how you're never going to be successful. I was like, I'm sure he whispers that stuff to you, right? He tells you how awful you are, how you'll never be successful. I'm sure he calls you a loser. I'm sure he tells you that life will never get better than this. I'm sure he tells you that you're just going to be a part of a system, and this is all that it is. I'm sure he tells you that you go home, and I don't know where some of them come from, and that's what I said. I don't know what your home situation life looks like. Some of y'all may not think it gets any better than that, but I went there to tell them that it is, and that it does. And the enemy would love nothing more than for people like me and people like you to not take the time to share your story. Yeah, they need to be connected to us. They need to know. They need life spoken to them. They need the life. They need the life that's in your mouth spoken over them to break the lies of the enemy. Yeah, and what he's doing. And I actually think our pastor preached on this, because as I'm talking, it's starting where the enemy has driven such a wedge, or maybe it was Pastor Reno, one of the two of them, that the enemy has tried to cause this wedge between our generation, the older people, and the younger people, when we actually need each other. And so I don't know who's listening to this now that I've rambled, but I need you to know that your story matters. If you're a kid, your Your story matters. Your voice matters. Your destiny matters. You are alive on purpose. And we don't have time to waste. Because I looked at a 10-year-old kid who is behind bars, essentially. And I watched. The greatest thing is as I began to speak to who they actually are, I watched their eyes go from staring at the ground to looking up at me, because no one's ever told them that before. No one's ever told them, you're going to be great. Because I'm sure all they get told by is that you're just going to be somebody in a system, or oh, here you go again, or that's just how so-and-so is. They used to say that, oh, there goes Jolene again. No, that's not okay. No, that's not just who you are. No. There's something greater on the inside of you. You're expected. You have choices to make. And I told him, it's not going to be easy. It's not easy at 40. It's not easy being saved for the last 13 years. Actually, it's even harder. Yeah, last week sucked, actually. There were a couple days, not the whole week. A couple days. And I had to fight, but I fought. Okay? So you get up and you fight and you make decisions. And every decision will carve out your next day, and your next day will end up, and you'll be walking in your destiny. And it's not going to be perfect all the time. And you're going to bump your head. And you're going to have to pick yourself up. And then you're going to have to put yourself around people who are better than you. And you're going to have to take their criticism. And you're going to have to take their critique. Not even criticism. Their critique that makes you better. Or you're going to have to shake off. Especially when you know you're called to be excellent. I was having a conversation with somebody today. I'm called to be excellent in everything that I do. Not just some things. In every single thing that I do. I'm called to be excellent. So mediocre isn't working anymore. Just getting by isn't working anymore. It's unfulfilling. It's unsatisfying. It's actually annoying. Why? Because I was called to do greater. Because I was called to be excellent. Because I serve a God who does nothing but everything in excellence. And because he's in me, it's in me to be excellent. Everything I put my hands to will be excellent. Not that I won't bump my head and learn, but eventually it will be excellent. And that's what I told these kids today. You're excellent. You have the whole world ahead of you. You have everything in front of you. And actually, this might have been even a way for God to protect you. You have no idea what he kept you from by putting you in this place. And I told him to write. I told him to write every dream. And I asked every kid in there, they looked at me like I was crazy. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? What do you dream of? I asked them all. Every last one of them. And they all gave me different answers. And I said, write it down. The one kid's face lit up. I want to own a restaurant. I said, you do? Do you want to own it, or do you want to cook too? And he said, I actually, just like this. He looked at me just like this. He goes, I actually want to do both. I said, do both. Do both. Own it and be the head chef. And do it great. And when you get back to your bed tonight, close your eyes and you write down every single thing that you see. I don't care how impossible it looks. And you write it down. And I'm going to do that again tonight too. I'm going to take my own advice. And you should too. You should write it down. Yep. God is good. Man, he is good. And if you have a word in your mouth, or you have the opportunity to encourage somebody, you need to do it. Because somebody's life, even if it's just for them, even if it was just for tonight, your words can give somebody hope. Your story can give somebody hope to hold on one more day. Actually, the story, because when Jesus is connected to it, and when you mention his name, that's the only name they actually need to remember. That's the only part of the story that matters anyways. They'll call out to him. You'll call out to him. So great. I was so honored to be in front of these. I think one kid was like 10 years old. These children. Kids who are going to shape our future. Who are the ones that got next. They thought they had nothing to offer. But I made sure this evening that they knew they have everything to offer.